Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Ready for the weekend? You ready for a new month? If you're not ready, well, it's here upon us. Today is November 1st already. Can you believe the year's gone by this quick? Really, really moving along. So we're almost to the end of this year, and the excitement that we've been hearing about with ISON and these shifts that we've been hearing about, well, they're all upon us. So if these things are reality, then the next 2 months should be quite exciting time down here on old planet Earth. All right, let's get over to our planets and stars today. So our sun sign is in Scorpio for a little bit longer yet. Scorpio is a water sign. Our moon sign is Libra. Libra is an air sign, so we're dealing with two elements, water and the conscious mind, unconscious mind, air. So just think of how the two things work together, okay, in life. When they work smoothly, it's very nice. But when the two things work in very extreme ways against each other, it can be like a hurricane, strong winds that blow the water all over the place. I mean, it could be really a messy situation. We understand that. If we think in terms of emotions and words and actions, we've got the emotions on the conscious mind, and then the words and actions underneath that are stirring the emotions up a bit. So it depends on how those words and actions underneath are really making things swarm around as they do. Now today we have a symbol here, a square. We need to be aware of squares are lessons that we learn. They're blocks or squares. When you get to them, the objective is to learn to be able to move around that block, because then there's a great lesson that can be learned once you do. And here it is in regards to Jupiter. Jupiter is called the planet of expansion. The energies and the ideas of Jupiter expands whatever is around it. Okay, so we're having an expansion around the things we say and do, our karmic. The idea with Libra is about karmic balance is one of the ideas. It's the words we say and the actions we take. And the whole idea is that when we understand the things we say and do affect us, we make sure that we don't say the things that are going to hurt us or do the things that are going to hurt us. And we try to say things that will actually help us and benefit us. So we've got this lesson coming up later on between Libra, things we say and do, and expansion. Okay, so maybe we need to understand how to expand slowly around the people we're with. You know, we'll find out. But that's tonight, this evening, 8 p.m. Pacific time, when that aspect takes place. The current moon phase is almost down to a new moon. We're only 5% of the way there. All right, the Mayan Oracle, we're at the second day of a new wave spell. This wave spell is the wave spell of the dragon. It's the very beginning. You can see we're right back up here at the Zolkin, up in the upper left-hand corner here. All right, and this, just to refresh your memory, it goes from the top to the bottom, all the way to get to the very end right here, which we were a couple of days ago, and now we're back up here. Okay, so we've begun a new wave spell. This wave spell is the theme of the dragon, which is birth. And today we're at the second day, inspiration, the wind, the inspiration that comes to us after the birth occurs. And here we have synchronicity, or navigation, which is the earth. That is our like-minded energy today, being in synchronicity and understanding the synchronicities around us so we can better navigate through life. Our challenge is our free will. Okay, what we're going to decide and do, how we're going to use our free will to make our decisions today. Our hidden power here is the storm. The storm is a buildup of energy, and then the energy is released. So how is that energy going to be released? Kind of relates back to the idea of the wind and the water that we're working with today. Okay, and here we have our guide for today, which is the Wizard. Wizard's all about timelessness, that there is no time. It just goes on and on and on. So we have the lunar wind guided by the Wizard, or lunar tone is called the tone of challenge. So it's the challenge of inspiration guided by timelessness, if you want to look at it in those keywords. The phrase for today, which comes from this whole thing here, is I polarize in order to communicate a stabilizing breath. Polarize comes from the two, because when the one splits apart, you got the two, and the two energies that split apart, that were the one, have to now polarize themselves, balance themselves out. So I polarize in order to communicate stabilizing breath. I seal the input of spirit with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of timelessness. Timelessness is always important to remember, so we don't get caught up in this thing called time down here on Earth and think that's all that there is. Solar winds currently at 376.0 kilometers per second. Our planetary K index is back in the 1-2 range, quiet. Coronal holes, we can see they've gotten a little bit larger, and according to this, around the 5th through the 7th, we'll be feeling the effect of that. M-class flare possibilities drop back down to 40%, X is down to 5, and geomagnetic storm activity is down low as well, underneath 20. All right, here's the 4-minute news report, suspicious observer for today.
Good morning, folks. After last night, I do not really want to discuss the weather, but let's go around the globe quickly. Cresting low brought huge waves to Portugal, more severe weather across the continent. There's enough deep red spread out here to ask you to keep watch on your local forecasts. The Earth top flood zone, right now in western China, north of Tibet. It is very severe. To the east, Vietnam needs to prepare for yet another storm. Disproportionate number of storm occurrences here, don't you think? Same with Pacific versus the Atlantic, where yet another low is being cannibalized by the big American low. You see the moisture brought northeast atop Mexico and along the convergence line. The rain started at lunch. By dinner, the winds kept me inside. Lightning spooked my pups when the sun went down, and sirens went off at 1:30. Huddled in the basement with my wife and dogs for a bit. Just glad it's over. Couple articles and video posted. First, plan to go beneath the Greenland ice sheet even more than we have before. Video link below. Also, for those who remember the GOES R, this is about the primary observation instrument going on that first craft, which will launch in 2016. Also linked my original coverage of the spacecraft below, as it's probably necessary for context. ISON shot of the day is a real color image on Bruce Gary's site, which is linked every day for you below. Color confirmation comes from Austria with the world-famous amateur astronomer Michael Yeager. Taking a walk outside pre-sunrise, you might as well try to see ISON. Now, the search function on Stellarium is very useful. Type in the full name of any celestial object, and you zip right there. Now, let me also zip ahead a little bit to where we get some color in the morning sky. You can also use the date and time function to see where this comet will appear from Earth's perspective at any time, or you could use the JPL orbital diagram, also linked for you below, so you can see our solar system in 3D, planets, and the comet. ISON is about to take its dive towards the sun, and is passing Earth's January 15th position as you hear my voice right now. GOES shows our sun is not completely flatlined, but the uptick we've been witnessing has seemed weaker the last day. I stand by the lone delta spots remaining on the Earth-facing disk. They gave us a C6 flare, but that's about all, trailing in the umbral group on the south. You may not have noticed while looking at Saturn and Mercury coming in on the left to conjoin our star. In fact, it wasn't until a commenter pointed out the sun diver that I saw it myself. Nice one there. This will probably be dead by lunch. The solar wind finally showing a bigger CME impact. The speed finally ramped up to 500 kilometers per second. It was just of only moderate density and caused only weak signatures of geomagnetic distress. Coronal holes have only moderate power, but the incoming opening is more equatorial than they've been for a week or so. We've also seen ISWA not fully capture the breadth of these openings, so perhaps this sometimes underrepresents the solar wind expulsion. Got the holes? bigger CME, and the planets hugging together. That's why we had our quake watch rolling. Most know about the 6.3 in Taiwan yesterday, and literally 30 minutes after the evening news last night, we took a 6.6 in Chile. Lockheed Martin kept its promise to deliver Level 2 functionality to us by November. Must admit, this is not exactly intuitive. I've linked the explanation page for you to learn. We'll get it eventually. The tools have been handed over. Their Iris Today page is a bit confusing, might not be finished yet. Got some shots of our star to close. Eyes open. No fear. It's 6:55 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
All right. That's what we're dealing with now. Going to continue on with Aaron Russo. This is a piece he did. This was one of his last interviews. It was on this program called P&R Radio, stand for Politics and Religion. The two things you're not supposed to talk about. Well, this radio program here, P&R Radio, talks about those. Here's the last interview with Aaron Russo. It took place in May 29th of 2007. Check it out. I think you'll like it. I'm going to play a portion of this. The whole video is 41 minutes long. I'm just going to do a little, about 10 minutes worth. Here we go.
Movie producer Aaron Russo is our guest today on Politics and Religion. More than a movie producer, though, he has become one of the world's foremost crusaders for freedom. Aaron, wonderful to have you back on Politics and Religion.
Hey, thank you. I'm really happy to be here. It really is nice. You guys are doing a great job.
Well, thank you very much. Your documentary, Freedom to Fascism, is absolutely outstanding. What a gift to the world. What a service to the world. What's the response been?
The response has been overwhelming. I've never lived through anything like this before. You know, I've made a lot of hit movies in the past, but it was never quite like this. I've made obviously bigger movies, like Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and the Bette Midler movie, The Rose. But the love I've received from the public on this movie, because of the making of this movie, has been so outstanding. That I've never seen it before. I often it brings tears to my eyes, just knowing that people are so moved by the movie and how much the movie means to them. That I know the 2 years I took out of my life to make this, it was never about money. Of course, there's no money in documentaries, but it was always about getting the truth out to the public from where we're heading. And the response, I must tell you, it's just like it's unbelievable. I came down with cancer.
Yes.
And I'm really glad I made this movie because the prayers and the devotion that people have shown me since I've made this movie, the love, the outpouring of love to me, has been something I've never seen before in my life, particularly directed at me. And so it's been a very emotional, enlightening, cathartic experience for me to have made this movie and to see how God has, what God has done for me because I made this movie. And it's been unbelievable. I mean, there's been that reaction. There's also been the reaction of just how much people love the movie. Forget me for a second, but just how much they love the movie and how it's waking people up across America from all persuasions of life.
You know, Aaron, I think it's because you dared to tell the truth at considerable personal risk. Because as I watched it, I was spellbound by it, and at the same time, I was filled with this understanding that you took some courage to come right out and just say it, and all of us thank you for that.
Well, again, I thank you so much because to me, it's been very one-sided. I'm the one who's gotten the most benefit out of it because people have just been so kind and so loving to me, and so what night, because I've always had the opinion, not always, there was a time in my life when I truly believed in people, and then a time in my life came where I became a little bit cynical about people and their responses and how I felt people were really just very selfish and always thinking about themselves first and foremost. But this movie, it just changed my vision of how I see things, and I'm sure glad that it did, and because it lets you know that truth and light are the ways that we have to go in our lifetimes. And if you live by truth and light, and you live by God's word, and I believe in God very deeply, comes back to you. It just comes back to you and when you don't expect it. You're not looking for that, you know.
Well, let's pause just a moment to tell everyone there may be people that don't know about it. The title of the movie is America, Freedom to Fascism by Russo. If you haven't seen it, you've got to, period. And you can actually get your own copy and DVD by calling us right here, right now, at 1-800-END-TIME. That's ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463. And let me tell you, once you start it, I don't think you can click it off because it's marvelously done. I mean, you would think a documentary might be like boring. No way. Of course, nothing Aaron Russo's a part of is boring. He's just an interesting person. But anyway, I do recommend it. Unqualified, you've got to see it. So I hope you will order your copy right now. 1-800-END-TIME is the number.
Aaron, Todd Schwartz said that your DVD makes Fahrenheit 9/11 look like Bambi.
Yes. We've had a lot of that. I mean, Fahrenheit 9/11. You know, I respect Michael Moore as a filmmaker. I don't respect his political philosophy so much. But as a filmmaker, you know, he knows how to make a film. And when I saw Fahrenheit 9/11, I was impressed with the quality of the work that he did, even though I didn't buy into what he was trying to accomplish. I didn't buy into the story. But I think people realize he comes from very much from the very liberal left side of things, and he attacks the right very strongly in that movie. And it's about liberal, conservative, left versus right, red state versus blue state. And my movie doesn't do that. My movie is really about forgetting both political parties, Democrats and Republicans, and remember that you're an American, and that America comes first, not the political party you're affiliated with. And being an American means you stand up and you believe in the Constitution and what the Founding Fathers gave us as a nation to work with. And it was never, ever about being left or right wing, you know. It was about being an American, freedom of the individual. And unfortunately, in today's world, you know, because the state controls the schools and they control so many things, that people actually believe today that America is supposed to be a democracy. And when I explain to people the truth, which is that, you know, America, the word democracy is not written into the Constitution one time. It's not in the Declaration of Independence one time. It's not in the Bill of Rights one time. The Founding Fathers hated the idea of a democracy because they knew that a democracy is really nothing more than tyranny of the majority. And it's really nothing more than two wolves and a hen voting on who they're going to eat for dinner. And you know the two wolves are going to vote to eat the hen. And in our republic, which is what we are, the hen would have a gun to protect himself. And in a democracy, what you have is, you know, you have 51% of the people controlling 49% majority rules. And the majority, it's tyranny of the majority. That's not what our Constitution is about. In our Constitution, 99% of the people can't take away the rights of 1%. You have God-given rights. They're your rights because you were born. You're a human being. And your rights are not to be denied by the majority, by the government, by anybody. I can't take your rights away, and the government can't take your rights away.
Aaron, we're against a break here.
All right, there you go. Perfect time to switch over. So check it out. Check out the rest of that interview. The link's available. I want to show you one other thing that you should know about regarding Aaron Russo. And one of the really cool things that he did was he created this organization, RTR.org. Gary Franchi right now is the gentleman who is running the organization, and this was left behind as a legacy of Aaron Russo. And so you can join their organization. You can be part of what they're about, find out all about their events, petitions that they're involved with, on and on. A lot of great information. Let me see if I can pull this part over here. There we go. See a little bit more of it. Okay, and so you can go here and you can find out a bit about who they are. All right, so check that link out, rtr.org, and UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. Today I have 5 stories for you. The first one is a compilation of sightings that took place during the month of October, which is now in our rearview mirror. The video itself is about 4.5 minutes in length. It comes from anonymous FO.com, and there's a lot of great sightings here. You've seen many of them because we certainly have been showing them. Okay, we've seen a lot of things this last month from old NASA pictures, this being one of them. We've seen numerous sightings that have been picked up around here in current times. This was October 6th. We've seen triangles. We've seen cubes up by the sun. We've seen round orbs. We've seen a lot of groupings of them. Okay, so all over the place. A lot of UFO sightings, a lot of good sightings. It seems that people are getting better and better pictures all the time. And we had this recent one here, the white triangle. We usually see dark triangles. That was a white one not too long ago. This thing is above the moon from a NASA photograph. Alright, so a lot of good stuff. Moving on to the next one here. Alright, this is part of a story that was the other day. It was the sighting that took place over at Bakersfield. And I want you to listen because the reporters here, when they report it, how they respond to what they are seeing. Check this out.
Thanks, Kristen. 6:05 now. 17 News received a lot of calls from viewers about a mysterious bright light shining in the sky over Bakersfield for the second straight night. Take a look for yourself. Last night, that light was clearly visible in the southwestern sky. Observers thought it was too bright to be a star, too still to be an aircraft, and it also changed colors. So what was it?
When you look at it through your naked eye, you just see a bright light. But when you look at it through the scope, it pulled everything up. We could see everything. It split, it changed shapes. It was, I don't know what it was.
Amateur astronomer Darren Nunn says he watched the light as it suddenly darted off. A source at Meadows Field told 17 News no pilots have asked about it. So tell us what you think and check out the discussion going on our Facebook page. A lot of people commenting, but no one seems to have a good answer for it yet.
All right. This is that sighting, if you recall, if you look up in the sky, the southwestern sky, this is the one that's been there for a while. There's people all around the world who have seen this. Last night I saw it. It was just about 6:15 in Southern California, Los Angeles. Look up and you see it there in the southwest sky. It wasn't dark yet, but it's bright enough that you can see it. Just take a look. And when I take my phone and I go to take a picture of it, it is white when you see it with the naked eye, but when you look and you see it, but with a camera, this thing is multiple colors. Every single time I've taken a picture of it, it's always multiple colors, and just like what you saw there, and that's what people are seeing around the world. So we're going to have to pay attention to what that is because it's been there. I started seeing this in August of this year, so it's been several months that people have been seeing it. It does seem at times to be getting larger. The other day when I looked at it, it was very almost rectangular. It wasn't just a round shape. I mean, it was more of a longer shape. It was very interesting, and we'll just keep watching and seeing what that is. Now, here is one. This was over Peru. Mulder and Scully never made it to South America during their decade-long search for extraterrestrial life, but if they had, they would certainly have found an ally in Peru. Indeed, the Peruvian Air Force is revising their own versions of the X-Files, an office called the Department of Investigation for Anomalous Aerial Phenomena, which will exclusively investigate UFO sightings and other anomalous aerial phenomena. The DIFAA was originally created in 2001, first making the news when the chief investigator Anthony Choi began looking into mysterious Chulians incident, a series of events in 2001 that captured the imagination of Peruvians for years afterwards. Choi describes the case in length in the video below, but here's a short version. On October 13th, 2001, in Chulucuans, Hundreds of people observed 8 spheres of red-orange light moving intelligently through the sky for over 5 hours. A couple of weeks later, someone caught video of a bright, tear-shaped object about 80 feet long hovering near the city. A few minutes later, several others saw mysterious lights landing in the woods. It was their first officially documented case. All right, and this was from 2011. This is Machu Picchu, an awesome city that's way up there in the mountains. And here we've got flying saucer above it. Okay, moving on. Now, here this article tells us that anyone can summon UFOs within minutes with practice. Okay, UFO sightings, telepathic communication with ET's proof. The men who summon UFOs, Fausto Perez and Jim Martin of California, claim they have the power to summon UFOs from knowledge they have learned from Robert Bingham, the UFO summoner. Incredible insight and exclusive information on how they do it. The video itself is 11 minutes long. I'm not going to play the video here. I'm going to leave that link available. But this seems quite interesting. I might have to see if I can track down this Robert Bingham and see if there's anything that we can learn from him. All right. Moving on. One last UFO-related story. The Greys and diplomatic and galactic diplomacy. This is from Neil Gould over at UFO Digest. Continuing in the series of video interviews on galactic diplomacy, Neil Gould and Chuk Fai of Hong Kong media platform MJ13 provide exo-political commentary, this time on a species of extraterrestrials known as the Greys. Discussed are the analytical shortfalls within ethnocentrism in analyzing the social structures of ubiquitous species. Grey, a humanoid species perhaps poorly understood as being one homogeneous race sharing the same agenda or scientific imperatives, abducting and gathering human DNA. Testimony from abductees, military whistleblowers, and contactees have shown that there are many species of Greys, brilliantly illustrated by Exopolitics Institute Certification Program's course instructor Manuel Lemroy at exopedia.org.website. Manuel pushes the boundaries on exobiology using a mind map to detect the different exphenotypes across a range of ET species. The discussion for analysis includes the hive mind of the Greys and alleged abilities at topological thinking at speeds faster than the fastest computers known to mankind. The neurological superiority of Greys with discussion of the various cases that specifically depict humans fearing Greys. And Greys have worked lovingly and positively with contactees such as Susan Hassin. Greys have been seen with Anunnaki, such as a case involving Furant and contactee Neil Fur. So, there's more to the story here. There's video to watch. Anyway, I think the Greys are a fascinating subject. We all hear about them. We certainly hear about them involved with the abduction scenario. But I think that we shouldn't rush too quick to judge the Greys and saying they are all bad. Just like down here on planet Earth, we don't like it when a whole race of beings are accused of being bad because they're associated with that race. Same thing goes in the universe. I've had a number of experiences with gray aliens. One of them, I had a lengthy conversation with one in which it was was an explanation about their race and how, just like I'm saying, not all of them are bad. Some of them are here to help, but that there's been infighting within their groups, and there are those that want to help humanity and those who have sided with our governmental agencies and are involved with the programs here. Bottom line is, we don't need to look at every single gray as being bad. We need to understand that just like humans are controlled, there are many of that society, that race, that are controlled as well. So we need to use our sense of discernment on who it is we're meeting, who it is that's out there in the world, and not lump up everybody up as being a bad guy just because someone in our government agency says so. We need to use our discernment. We need to understand that anytime you meet one of these grays or one of these aliens, lead with love. Okay, that will change the scenario for you. And in many times there are stories all around of people who have had experience with grays or any of the other alien groups, and when they say the name Jesus Christ, that name is a recognized name throughout the universe, and it will make a big difference. And that negative experience will end. And you can read many examples of that. Just go through and read online to see how that scenario has changed. So just some things to keep in mind about the Greys. They're not all bad, not all good, just like human beings down here on Earth. All right, that's our UFO news. I'll be right back. I have a bunch more stories. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. A lot of craziness in the world. Lots and lots of craziness. We know about what's going on with Obamacare and how that's really driving everybody crazy, and then you've got tech agencies that are jumping up to want to help the government, which tells us which side the tech agencies are on. We've got Obama. It's just crazy. I'm at a loss for words at times for some of the silliness that's going on with this whole thing, knowing what I know and knowing how things work in the world. Just to hear the continuous lies. I'm sure you're tired of them as well. Well, there's something going on in the military that we've heard about. We've heard about generals being removed. According to this article from Michael Maloof over at WND, it says Washington's retired Major General Patrick Brady, recipient of the U.S. military's highest decoration, the Medal of Honor, as well as other top retired officials, say President Obama's agenda is decimating the morale of the U.S. ranks to the point members no longer feel prepared to fight or have the desire to win. There is no doubt he is intent on emasculating the military and will fire anyone who disagrees with him over such issues as homosexuals, women in foxholes, the Obama sequester, Brady told WND. They are purging everyone, and if you want to keep your job, just keep your mouth shut, one source told WND. Not only are military service members being demoralized and the ranks overall readiness being reduced by the Obama administration's purge of key leaders, colonels, those lined up in rank to replace outgoing generals are quietly taking their careers in another direction. Retired Army Lieutenant General William G. Jerry Boykin, who was with Delta Force and later Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence under President George W. Bush, says it's worrying that four-star generals are being retired at the rate that has occurred under Obama. Over the past 3 years, it is unprecedented for the number of four-star generals to be relieved of duty, not necessarily relieved for cause. Goes on to say that he believed that there is a purging of the military. The problem is worse than we've ever seen. Well, par for the course, when you have a man in office who has so many coincidences about being the Antichrist that surround him, you seem to understand. When you have other agencies around the world putting out information that the man who is the president of our country is a Muslim terrorist, it's par for the course that this would happen. Okay? What we need to know, because there's been a lot of talk over years about how bad our military is, how tough our military is. Well, what's going on, military? For such a tough organization, you're letting this terrorist, this man who is ineligible to be in office, you're letting this man push you around? Now that is really, really hard to understand. Especially for military who said you're the greatest military on the face of this earth. Yet you let this one man push you around. Shameful. You know, I don't think there's any coincidence that when I read you from Mark 13, where Jesus was describing the end times, that the phrase abomination of desolation was used. I mean, what kind of coincidence is that? That we have a president named Obama, that you can actually take that word and extend it, call it an abomination. And that same word is used by Jesus. Not only that, but in Luke chapter 10, verse 18, the translation that Jesus makes is from Satan falling from the lightning from the heights, translates into Satan Barack Obama. Again, another coincidence, just like the coincidence of the 666 when he was elected, just like the coincidence of him being called the renegade by his Secret Service, or his vehicles being called the Beast. There's far too many things around here, far too many coincidences. This is a spiritual battle, folks. If at this point in time you don't understand that Obama is a bad guy and he's out to destroy this country, then I'm afraid you haven't been paying attention to what's going on. I'm afraid you drank the Kool-Aid and you bought into the lies. In which case, I don't know what else to tell you, except you better try to stop try to stop the process and try to find some truth, because the lies are only going to end up hurting you, your friends, and your family. It's already happening. and people that voted for this man, even though their votes don't get him in, but they showed their support, they're starting to see how they are being betrayed. It's happening more and more and more. It's a shame, a shameful situation, but perhaps this needs to happen because too many Americans supported this kind of nonsense. Perhaps we need to be overrun, and this has to happen so that there never ever will be a problem with this again. Maybe after this, Americans will wake up and say, never again will we let this happen. It was easy to say when it was in Germany and it was Hitler because it was overseas. But now that it's here in America, people have forgotten. And all the people who said, never again, that will never happen in my country, guess what? It's happening in your country, and it's happening under your very nose, and guess what? You don't even realize it because you're uninformed. Too many uninformed individuals in the world, that's speaking up, but they got a platform. Heard the other day Eddie Vedder's up on stage. Eddie Vedder talking about gun control. Eddie Vedder, you're a hypocrite, okay? You spoke a long time, and for many years you came out as you were this rebel rocker, and now you've got your head up Obama's backside talking about gun control. Really, Eddie? I bet your security team that is there with you, that travels with you, I bet they got guns. I bet they had more guns at that concert that you were at than anybody in the audience, yet you stood up there and you spoke about gun control. Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. What a disappointment. What a very big disappointment. Don't know what happened to you, but disappointing. Disappointing to hear people that jump onto the bandwagon like that and are afraid to stand up. Yet before that, they talk a big game of how they'll stand up, and when push comes to shove, they don't stand up at all. They just sit down. Now, Obama, he's put an order out for the NSA to stop spying on the World Bank. Don't worry about the people. The World Bank, we don't want them to be spied on. President Barack Obama has ordered the National Security Agency to stop eavesdropping on the headquarters of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank as part of the review of intelligence gathering activities, according to a U.S. official familiar with the matter. The order is the latest move by the White House to demonstrate that it is willing to curb at least some surveillance in the wake of the leaks by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden. Yes, they're willing. They're willing to curb. They want to curb this, not by having the spying stop on Americans. Oh, no. Oh, no. They're going to curb this problem by having the banks not get spied on. Because we don't want to know about the shadiness going on there. Certainly don't want that. But we deserve all of these things that we're getting. We do, because for so long we have fallen asleep at the wheel. And too many Americans, unfortunately, stopped listening to other Americans who were telling them what was going on. Now we live in a society where the Tea Party groups, the ones that are standing up for the Constitution, are being demonized by other groups who are not following the Constitution. It's all backwards these days, and you can only see where it's heading. It doesn't really take a genius to figure this out. You just look at the pieces of the puzzle and you realize that it's not going in a good direction. Here's Charlie McGrath, and this is his take on things for today.
Hi, my name is Charlie McGrath. I'm the founder of WideAwakeNews.com and host on the Rinse Radio Network. The ultimate ability for government to enforce the draconian, tyrannical laws that it passes on its people, the ultimate ability to enforce this comes down to the barrel of a gun. Nancy Pelosi stood on the floor of the House and talked about we needed to pass this legislation to find out what's in it. Nothing could be more true than that statement. Even though she backtracked and said she misspoke, the fact is it's 100% true. And it's been true time and time again over the last decade, namely. Legislation being passed, you're being told it is for your own good, it's for your safety, it's for the financial stability of this country, it's to protect you against terrorism. But what it's really doing is eroding away your freedom, eroding away the Constitution, and eroding away this nation. The government is preparing for the ultimate collapse of this country. They're preparing, and it's evident, self-evident, in the ammunition that they buy or the build out of the security industrial complex. Legislation such as Obamacare. Obamacare, president comes out 24 plus times talking about if you like what you got, you can keep it. If you like the doctor you have, you can keep him or her. And in reality, millions and millions of people have already lost their insurance. Tens of millions more are likely to lose their health care insurance. Because the government knows best? No, because the government wants control. They want control over the people of this country, and the last 5 years have bore that out more than any other time in the history of this nation, and frankly, I believe, in the history of the world. We have more people that are on the government dole on welfare than are in full-time working status. 1.2 million students are homeless. 1 in 6 people in this country are in poverty. 1 in 4 children are enrolled in a food stamp program, and the list goes on and on and on. A zombie nation that is subservient to a government is a nation that will be very malleable when the soft tyranny turns into something completely different. If we look at the promises of Obamacare, nothing is coming true. People losing their insurance because they're being told it's not up to the standard. But if you look at the standards of Obamacare, if you're looking to get an abortion or have contraceptive, fine, you have no problem. But it's only mandated to cover 60% of covered medical expenses. HMOs in 2009, private HMOs that you got through your work, they covered 93%. PPOs covered 84%, and even Medicare covered over 70%. Yet when you turn on the television, it isn't about how can we get rid of this freedom-killing law and others like it that we've seen come to pass over the last decade. It's about how we can implement it. And implementing it is the same as putting shackles on the people of this country. It is very, very telling when Charles Rangel is speaking before C-SPAN, talking and defending Obamacare, the so-called Affordable Care Act. What he really, his real agenda is, came to light. It's about dividing this country between red and blue. And later on in his statement, as his video will show that I'll attach to this one, he tells the American people that we need health care, we need Obamacare, because we need healthy young men and women to fight the wars of this nation. We have been misled from start to finish. There is no red and blue when the cameras are off. It's all about passing laws, passing legislation in order to keep their seats of power and to dominate the populace of this country and the world. Please wake up. Stories are attached. That's all I got.
All right. You know, this whole thing is just a big power grab is really all it is. And anyone who's really paying attention is kind of seeing that that's what's going on. It has nothing to do with health insurance. It has everything to do with them taking more power. And that's why gun control is a big part of this, because as people continue to step up, especially those who supported him, because those who supported him will quickly turn from being his ally to his enemy real quick once this starts hitting home more and more and more. So it's unfortunate that we've gotten to this situation, but this is the situation that we obviously wanted for ourselves, because the majority of the people have shown this support for this. Now, just in regards to gun control, I know the Second Amendment is a pretty strong thing that we have. It shouldn't be removed from the Constitution. We've heard many ploys about them wanting to remove this. It sounds like they're trying to make an end run around the Constitution here, because the word on the street is now manufacturers of bullets. They're the ones who are being targeted now, and if they stop making the bullets, it doesn't really matter if you have a gun. I understand the necessity of why people talk about the need for gun control, but they're misunderstanding the point. It's not about getting rid of the guns, because good people aren't out there killing other good people with guns. It's the bad guys. And guess what? The bad guys, as we know, aren't going to turn in their guns. They're not going to abide by the rules. That's why they're called the bad guys. They're not abiding by the rules now. But our governments, unfortunately, have become bad guys that don't abide by the rules. So what do you expect if that's the example you have? This story here is has to do with chemtrails. It says, contrary to rumors of conspiracy theory, the Department of Defense first published Chemtrails in 1990 as a title to a chemistry course for pilots attending the esteemed U.S. Air Force Academy. It's reasonable to speculate that chemtrails and its implied meaning was eventually adopted by civilian observers to describe unusual military jet contrail emissions and later commercial aircraft persistent contrails. In etymological terms, the origin of the word is very important. Regardless, the intended definition, history clearly shows that the term chemtrails originated at the U.S. Department of Defense as the title for a chemistry manual used at the Air Force Academy Cadet Training Program in the early 1990s. The purpose of this post is to establish the term chemtrails was invented by the DoD for the Air Force Academy. However compelling, we resist claiming that the title and or the content is directly related or linked to the covert aerosol geoengineering and chemtrail operation that has been infecting planet Earth since the early 1990s. The course content, however, suggests possible methods for manipulation of the Earth's atmospheric chemistry and conductivity and could be construed as a course requirement for pilots who could be engaged in deploying chemicals into the atmosphere. Well, whereas the author of this article doesn't want to make that connection, I shall say, putting the pieces together, it kind of makes sense because we do see military planes up there shooting out these chemtrails, and it goes all the way back now. We have a track record back to the 1990s. The term came from somewhere. The chemtrails and the trails off these planes aren't just imaginary, and they are coming from military planes often. So I think there's a very strong connection here just to show the government involvement yet once again in trying to depopulate the people. And unfortunately, the military personnel that are out there assisting them are not paying attention. And that's the problem. We have an uninformed military that is completely unaware of what's going on in the world, and they're going along with these policies that are hurting American citizens. Why? If you're a member of the military, if you know somebody out there, ask them why they are going along with these rules. I know, we have to follow orders. Well, that is the dumbest thing I ever heard. Because if you got someone giving you a bad order and you follow it, then what good are you? What good are you to anybody if you're following bad orders? That's stupid. A stupid thing. You got to follow good orders. And right now, we got too many people following bad orders. And one of these days, these military personnel who are doing all of these, carrying out these orders, are going to find out that their friends and family were adversely affected by this. And boy, are they going to feel bad then. They aren't going to follow orders at that point anymore. And unfortunately, in America, Americans are really slow on the uptake, and figuring some of these things out don't occur right away, and usually lots of people get hurt before people really realize the truth. It's too bad. It's too bad. People should listen to conspiracy theorists more rather than put them down. They should listen because what they say keeps proving itself right. All right, moving on. ISON. Comet ISON. This is Thor News giving us the latest on what is happening with ISON.
It's a Thor News presentation.
Thor News presents WTF. Planet/galaxy/mothership/giant tomato of doom is that in front on the path of Comet ISON. One of the wonderful things about having your own YouTube channel, and I highly recommend it, is that if you have a question, you can then ask that question to the Earthling community via the YouTube. So that's what I'm doing here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a nerd geek dork, so I watch these sun cameras pretty much daily when I have the time. And so I've definitely been watching the HI-2 ahead camera ever since they said ISON would be on it, and they gave us ISON's clear orbital. ISON's clear orbital. But as you will notice, there is a giant celestial body looking thing about on the same path as Comet ISON. What in this 2D form looks like ahead of Comet ISON. I know it's a 3D universe, maybe even 8D. So I'm just putting this out there. What is this? I know it's not the Beehive Galaxy, because the Beehive Galaxy is over here on this one. And I've made that mistake before. Well, I didn't make the mistake. I just said, hey, look, the Beehive Galaxy's flapping its wings. And it was. So I'm asking, what is this? It looks about 6 times the size of Jupiter. It's got a shape. It seems to react with the coronal mass ejections and flashes from the sun. Looks like it might be getting a little bigger. It is very well defined. So I'm putting this out there to you guys, you geniuses. I couldn't figure it out. What is this? WTF, man. WTF planet/giant boob is this? And where some people may be kind of freaked out by one boobie, just remember, one boobie is better than none. Am I right? Alright. I mean, if you're freaked out by a girl only having one boob, then I guess you would not date Amazons, because they used to cut off one boobie so they could fire their bow better. That's a true story. Asterisk. Crap, I don't believe anything these days. And once again, when I said that it is in front of ISON, I recognize that this is 2D, and that it is probably way behind ISON. But on the screen, it looks like it's in front of it. But if it is behind ISON, that means it's extra, extra huge. So, you tell me. Somebody out there, I couldn't figure it out in any of my outer space science guy programs. Man, I wish this thing was in color, but we'll take what we can get. I gotta say, overall, Comet C2012 S1 ISON does not look that impressive on here. Though, that little comet seems to have a new storyline every few days. Whatever it is, it's huge. Inquiring minds want to know. We're going to take another look real quick at the NASA stereo orbit diagram, and you'll notice whatever this giant flying chicken is, I don't even know what to call it. I know that I get in trouble if I try and name stuff, even in a funny way. People shit their pants and then are like, I hate your guts. You know, seriously, so many people don't have any type of sense of humor. So if you look, it's on the exact same path as ISON. I don't know what it is. I tried to figure it out. Please don't tell me it's the Beehive Galaxy, because I don't see how it can be in front and behind at the same time. But I'd like to know what it is. And there does seem to be other little junk at the bottom. I'm sure it's, something simple, like the G-string 69 Galaxy. Nah, that was stupid. And I guess Comet ISON is pretty tiny. 3 miles and under, 2 miles and under nucleus. What if I never get my funny back? That's like one of my main 7 superpowers. Then I'll be normal. Well, except for the other 6 superpowers. But still, like, being funny is one of the rarest skills that people have today. Like, how many people do you know that are really funny? Like, these days? Not many. Seriously. There aren't a lot of funny people. I wish there were a lot of funny people, because we all like to laugh. And people who are usually funny are usually good at conversation. And if there's one thing I've learned over the last decade of social networking, most people's ability to engage in a good conversation is dead. And so it's hard to be funny with people who don't know how to have a good conversation. Anyway, which is why I got all excited about YouTube, because I could be funny all by myself on the YouTube. But now, crap, if the bad guys have stolen my funny powers, then dang. Oh, hey, wait. I studied screenwriting. There's Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. What I am feeling right now would be called the nadir moment. All is lost. But I know that when that funny comes back, it's going to be roaring and overpowered. Hallelujah. God bless everyone. Don't let the bastards get you down. They're multiplying like Agent Smiths and zombies. And they're mad because you're happy. So stay happy. It makes them mad, and you don't even mean to make them mad. So you don't have to suffer any of the negative karma. All right, thanks, Astonishers. Y'all have a good weekend. And I'll see you guys around the bend. Peace out. God bless everyone. Stay strong. Stay cool if you can. And I can't wait to hear an answer to this thing. Okay, great. Peace out. Happy Sunday, y'all.
All right, very good. Good report, as always, from Thor News. All right. Edgar Cayce. You know about Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce made many predictions. He's called the Sleeping Prophet. He would go into a trance-like state, and he would dictate information that would be about healing remedies. In addition to, later on, it would be about earth changes and prophetic events. And he's been found out to be extremely accurate. And the healing remedies he used to have were amazing, and how people would recover from illnesses. People he would never meet, but just through a letter that would be read to him while he was in this trance state, he would dictate the therapy for them, and people would get healed. And we have since seen more and more of his prophecies coming to pass. Well, one of the things that Edgar Cayce did talk about was the Arcturians. He says Arcturus is the highest civilization in our galaxy. That's what Edgar Cayce said. Edgar Cayce lived between 1877 and 1945. Further details of Cayce's life and work are explored in the classic book There Is a River by Thomas Sugrue, available in hardback or paperback and audio versions. The idea of alien life form that has been visiting Earth from Arcturus is frequently associated with the writings of Edgar Cayce. According to Cayce, the Arcturians are a fifth-dimensional life form. They are highly advanced both technically and spiritually. Since his early writing of the races of aliens, Edgar Cayce has been referred to as the father of the Arcturians. Today, many people have discovered different ways to communicate with the Arcturian aliens. However, only one has been deeded the most sure. Let me open this up here. Most sure way. Because Arcturian aliens exist in different dimensions, not just the fifth dimension, it is known that to communicate with higher planes of existence, one would enter into a dream state. In this dream state, we believe that Edgar Cayce entered into direct communication with Arcturian aliens. Today, many people have claimed to have a communication with Arcturians. For example, Normal J. Milanovic is the author of the famous book We, the Arcturians, A True Experience, which explains the lifestyle and the way of life of these benevolent race of the Arcturian aliens. The Arcturian legacy and mythology continues, although there are many reasons to believe that these aliens are much more than a myth. We continue to explore the possibilities and compelling evidence. Edgar Cayce gave us a doorway to enter into the universe of the vast existence. As you can see, there are videos here for you to watch in this regard, so go ahead and play them. This one here is 9 minutes long. This one is over an hour. And you got another one here, 7 minutes. So all the links are available, as you can check them out. And that is the latest on Edgar Cayce. Our message for today comes to us, our channeled message comes to us. This is the Queen of Lemuria. Here we go.
This message is from Queen of Lemuria.
Channeled by Cindy McGonigal, October 21st to 31st.
The Lemurian civilization is an ancient one from long ago, hidden to most beneath the Great Ring of Fire in the western Pacific Ocean. The Lemurians came from ancient Polynesia when they took form, but before that were a group frequency of very high beings of light, a creator group energy, here to help the earth take form and work in harmony with the elementals and devas of the land, water and sea. Much of our history has been shared through channelings like this one. We Lemurians want humans to partner with us to ensure that the oceans remain intact and not become a source of toxins. We ask you to look how you use water, and to bless the water you use with love so that love can go deep into the earth again. Our energies are very strong, sometimes too strong for your human bodies to hold, and we raise your body temperatures, and at times you feel extreme heat, at other times you experience wanting to fall asleep. We are watching how you are taking us, and so we can adjust our frequencies, so others can easily work with us. Your diet is also very important. Bless your food. The dolphins and whales are our brothers and sisters of the sea. They too have a galactic star code within themselves. Many carry the Syrian light codes. We Lemurians are seeking more partners, those who love and deeply care for the sea and the health of the rivers and streams and the maintenance of the health of this planet. We have for many years been silent except for a few humans who have opened their hearts to our communications. Hawaii is a very powerful and sacred area, especially the island of Kauai. The oldest island in the Hawaiian island chain, it holds the Lemurian frequencies. Many Lemurians' ancestry can be found in the heritage and Hawaiian families of old. It has always been a place where our energies have felt the closest to our own frequency. The lush tropical plants and the seas that surround the Hawaiian Islands resonate with our ancient energies of co-creation. The elementals of Hawaii and the plant spirits are alive and ready to speak to those of you ready to receive direct communication with them. The ancient Hawaiian carvers knew that certain spirits lived with the trees and that mana or power can be shared with those who understood their carvings, their tiki gods of old. The rocks too from the sea, the ancient lava straight from the earth also carries great mana, and it provided the home for the creatures of the sea to live and flourish. There are many stories of the sea to share in the future. The Hawaiian elders also had great wisdom in honoring the flowers and plants in their ceremonies and in the ways they combined flowers together in leis, each one honoring the flowers, the colors and the fragrance of the plants, and when sewn together tell the story of the land called Hawaii. A magical place forevermore. We Lemurians love the sea and all her creatures seen and unseen. There is a great mystery in the waves, the tides, and currents of the Pacific Ocean, the ocean we call time. For us, we have waited eons of time to partner with humans. It has taken what seems like forever for enough humans to realize their connection to the ocean, streams, rivers and lakes that carry the power of creation within. Again we rejoice in this reunion of our expansion of oneness consciousness with humans. We Lemurians are an ancient people who have much to offer those who wish to learn how to work with the element of water. Much of Earth is water, and it has the ability to carry great healing and power of rejuvenation for all species. However, it needs to be kept as a pure source for this element to function correctly. This is where humans can help, even if you do not live by a natural source of water. Your tap water is your source. Begin to bless the water you drink. Bless the water as it goes down the drain so that vibration of love can be carried back to your treatment facilities. This may seem ridiculous, but water can carry your love intent and magnify this so that the water creates a more balanced and harmonious energy and frequency. Imagine for a moment that each time you stepped into a shower, your body, which includes your spiritual, mental, emotional and physical energy fields, receives divine love. Think how this would feel to you. That is what happens when you stand under a waterfall in nature that comes from a pure source. Everyone and every creature deserves to have a healthy, vibrant source of water. Never underestimate the power of your clear intent to transform this natural resource. We Lemurians ask you to start practicing sending love to the water you drink and use today to help transform the cells of your own body to feel rejuvenated. We Lemurians thank you for joining us in helping Earth and her elements become healthy again. Mahalo. Queen of Lemuria.
Very nice. All right. Our angel message for today here is a happy move is in process and it brings with it positive energy. A happy move is in process and it brings with us positive energy. All right. It's a nice message. You know what I want to do is I like these messages. I'd like to do things a little bit differently. I know a lot of people out there have positive affirmations that you like to use. So if you're willing to send in some, then I will read those on the show. I'll read one a day in place of those messages if I have one. So go ahead and send them. I also, if you're at firstcontactradio.com, you click on the link for the forum. There's a forum that I set up. It's just starting to get filled up. There you'll see there's still categories that there's nothing in it yet. But it's a place that we can be interactive. And if you put messages up there, I'll do my best to get there to respond to them. And, you know, it's a good place where we can exchange information. There's a lot of different categories. So go ahead and use the site. Register there. It's free to register. And just fill in the different categories where you feel that you have some insight on something. Put links. You can post videos. You know, you can share with me information. As I said, I do monitor that, and we'll be monitoring that to be able to get back with you much quicker than I do when you send other messages. All right? But I appreciate your messages. Thank you very much. I enjoy them. I try to get back to you as much as I can. Sometimes I just get a little bit crazy, but just bear with me, and eventually I get a chance to respond to them. All right? That's it for today. That takes us to our meditation. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. Let's imagine all of our chakras are activated from the top of the head all the way down to the bottom of the spine. Top of the head, the first chakra is violet in color and is drawing the white light as it pours down from the universe into that crown chakra. And that violet light continues to move down the crown chakra downward until it meets the chakra at the third eye. And there the color goes from violet to indigo. And the light continues down from that chakra of the third eye down to the chakra at the throat. And as it gets to the throat area, that indigo color becomes blue. And from the throat chakra, the energy moves down further, and when it gets to the heart chakra, imagine the color green. And then the light continues moving down from the heart chakra down to the solar plexus. And there, the light goes from green to yellow. And as the light continues down further yet to the chakra at the navel, the emotional chakra, the color changes from yellow to orange. And then finally the light moves down from the chakra at the navel down to the chakra at the bottom of the spine. And the light turns to red. And then the energy continues down into the earth. And as this energy connects from our root chakra into the earth, it helps to ground us. It helps to ground us into the earthly energy to balance out the energies that we are receiving. So just feel the energy as it flows through the chakras from the crown chakra all the way down to the root chakra. Feel that energy pulsing through the body. See the multicolored energy The red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. See all those colors. Feel the energy that connects to you at the crown chakra and the energy that connects at the root chakra. And as you are in the midst of this energy, just think of the word love. To send love throughout all of these channels so that the energy that's channeled out from you is loving energy. While you're in this space, give a moment of thanks to the universe around you for providing you energy. Give thanks to your body for efficiently channeling this energy through each and every one of your chakras. And give thanks to the great Creator for making all of this possible. Let's imagine the water around the earth, the oceans, the lakes, the streams, the rivers, the gatherings of water that we drink, and then finally the water that comes into our homes, to our sinks, to our showers. And let's imagine sending love into the water supply. Let's imagine all of the water supply being filled with love. Love to go in to counteract the problems that are affecting the water. But let's just keep sending love. And as we do, know that this love has an effect and that every individual that adds their love to it amplifies that effect even more. Let's imagine extending this love from the waters out into the land. And let's send love out into the air. And let's just imagine the whole planet bathed in love. Imagine the color green from the heart chakra. And the whole planet glowing this green color. And as we go forth through the course of this weekend, let's just have a really simple idea, and that idea is love. Let's love be the energy that we put out as we walk through life. Knowing that love is not weak, but strong. That love, when put out into the universe, cannot be stopped. That love changes everything for the better. So let's just send love into the world. Let's just imagine that all we do, we are sending out love. And let our subconscious mind continue on that journey of sending out the love. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the moment, also focusing on the love aspect and sending that out into the world. We're going to bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And go ahead and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. Thank you very much for being here. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you watching the show. I appreciate your comments. Just very appreciative to be able to do this 5 days a week and be able to share with you. So, thank you very much. Have an awesome weekend. Send lots of love and light out to you, to your friends, to your families. God bless each and every one of you. And I'll be back on Monday with more news and information. Be safe. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.